Morning's Health Watch, football and concussions. A concussion happens from a blow to the head that shakes the brain, resulting in a temporary loss of normal brain function. Recent studies show repeated concussions can have a long-term effect, like an increased risk of dementia. But our Dr. Jennifer Ashton says it's not just pro athletes who have to worry about it. Good morning.
That's right. Good morning, Harry. Now, student athletes are actually at much greater risk for concussions, and the CDC estimates about 300,000 students suffer one every year, and young athletes are particularly at risk.
Kevin Som's football career began when he was just 7 years old.
It was the biggest part of your life?
Yeah, football was my life.
But that career and his dream of playing after high school ended before he could even finish the season after suffering a concussion.
The play was more over that way, like towards the center of the field.
A star running back and captain of his high school team, Kevin was on top of the world until he started getting violent headaches after a game his senior year.
Every time I was running, I felt like my brain was like bouncing in my head.
Despite the headaches and blurred vision, Kevin played the following week. Then, one hard hit changed everything.
So I went back to the huddle with my buddies and I told them, like, I definitely have a concussion or something. I definitely have a concussion.
Kevin walked back to the sideline and collapsed. He was airlifted to a local hospital where an emergency procedure was performed to relieve the pressure on his brain. Doctors told him he was extraordinarily lucky to be alive, but would never play again.
And what was your reaction to that?
I cried.
Now a sophomore in college, he wants other athletes to learn from his painful mistakes.
You're not going to look like a sissy if you tell someone that you have a headache, because you don't know if it's just a regular headache or it could be serious like mine was.
Now, one study found that 40% of high school students actually get back on the field too soon after a concussion, and at least a half a dozen states are considering laws like the one passed last year in Washington State, which requires that an athlete be removed from the field if a concussion is suspected and prohibits their return until they receive written medical clearance, Harry.
That makes some sense. I'll tell you, the technology in these things has changed so much since when I played back in the day.
Right.
What do you have there?
Well, this is one example of the new technology in terms of helmets and prevention, and it actually has individual shock absorbers that actually work like an airbag that changes the way, in terms of the physics and the vector of movement, that your head hits and your skull moves when you're hit. So again, the best type of prevention is not to get the hit in the first place, but absent that, new helmets like these are making a huge difference.
Wow, very cool stuff. Dr. Ashton, thanks so much. Appreciate it.